Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back. Sorry it's been a while. I know time has a funny way of getting away from you when you're really busy. And 2020 has been an absolute kick in the nuts. And I feel like it has been for a lot of people out there. So hopefully you guys are doing good. Your holidays are going good. If you're struggling right now, keep grinding. Hopefully it's going to get better sooner than later. But anyway, I hadn't posted in a while. Figured you guys would like to see an update on the truck. A lot has been happening. I've been jamming on the Subaru Forester like crazy. That thing has come a long way, and I'm going to be doing a video on that next. However, I figured most of you guys are really interested in the truck, so I'll just do a real quick update on that. So let's get into it. Here she is, guys, in all of her glory. Got her back from paint. Couldn't be happier about it. He really did fix everything on it. The roof is nice and shiny, perfect. Did the back over here. I told him just don't worry about the interior for right now because I'm going to be doing the roll cage, all the dash work. I got to pull this windshield out that way I can get my gusset plates up in here and get everything fabbed up the way I wanted, and it would just been a waste for him to do the floor. But he did do this back section, this back panel right here, so it's nice and glossy. He fixed the firewall, so that's nice and glossy as well. Told him not to worry about the bottom side because I was going to do the undercoating, which is already done. So yeah, get down in here. You can see that's the solid mounts, both sides. I can go over that in another video if you want. Just tell me down in the comments and I can basically outline how that all went down right there. So essentially, it's utilizing bolts and it's welded. So it's a piece of DOM with a plate capped on the bottom of it. Hopefully you guys can see. So this DOM is welded to the bottom of the cab. And then I have another plate that's welded down to this piece right here. And then there's a cap on the end of this DOM. And then it's welded from the inside. And I have it through bolted. So there's the bolt right there from the factory. And once I get everything lined up, as you can see, it's a little out of alignment right now. I drilled all these little holes right here. And what I'm going to do is, once this thing's all lined up and bolted down, I'm going to plug weld these holes. And that way it's actually really solid. But if for whatever reason in the future I ever needed to take the cab off for any reason, all I would have to do is just drill those out and then remove the bolt, and I can actually take the cab off. Especially with how I'm going to configure the tube front end and how it's going to be integrated into the cage when it runs back into the truck. I'll show you kind of what idea I have there. I don't ever think I'm going to need to take this cab off for any reason. I mean, I'm pretty sure if this thing gets all mangled, the frame is going to suffer some serious damage too. But hey, you never know. Something might just happen and it tweaks this setup, and I don't want to go through all the work of fabricating all this over again, and I need to get the cab off, so that's what I'm going to do. But anyway, yeah, like I said, if you want to know more about that, hit me up and I can make a video on it specifically. See what else. So yeah, there's the interior. And put a little roof wing or roof spoiler deal on there. This is from Rohde Fab, and so are the seat brackets. And I'm gonna be honest, these things are sick. I bought them a few weeks ago, or actually, I think I got these a few weeks ago. I got that a couple weeks ago, and everything came in. I was really impressed with the fitment. It's obviously made to fit when you have carpet and or vinyl floor in, but this is gonna be no problem to fit this, and it's exactly the height that I need. And I actually ended up getting a new helmet because my other one, I had a big old mushroom head. It was a race quip helmet. So I ended up picking up a Daytona. And I'll show you what it looks like right here in the corner. So this Daytona is really slim fitting. It's DOT approved and all that stuff. So I have no problem at the local drift events. If I ever went to competition, I'll probably have to get Snell. But for right now, it should work just fine. I picked up this Viilante USA steering wheel. I think this is pretty neat. For only 185 bucks, its build quality is really freaking good. Go check it out. The dude's kind of weird that owns the place, I think. Like, he's like super strange. Like, I talked to him on the phone. He accidentally sent the steering wheel without the horn button, and he's just a very odd person to talk to. But he ended up sending the horn button, so that was really cool, and he was very nice, and got that situated. Here's a little hack for you guys in case you're looking to get NRG stuff. So every once in a while I do this. So if I'm looking for something NRG, I always cross-reference it with the Chinese suppliers that they get everything from, or like all their overseas suppliers. So in this case, this is a Chinese short hub, but I'll show you, it's exactly the same as the NRG short hub. This thing was $32, and the NRG version of this, that's exact same thing, is like 90 something dollars. And this is literally the same thing that NRG sells you. So same build quality, same aluminum housing out here, same depth. And basically, like, if you go on NRG's website, it's called Kyostar. But if you go on NRG's website and look up your vehicle fitment for short hubs, it'll have like a number like SRK, and then it'll have like 140H after it. So SRK 140H, I think, is for like S13, S14 and all that. And it also works for hard bodies. But this one's just called Kyostar 140H, and this is the full link to the part number. But this one right here is what's important. You can actually find this thing like on Amazon or eBay for like 30 some odd bucks and shipped to your door, and saves you like 60 bucks. So a little tip there in case you were looking for a short hub. But yeah, so that's kind of what's going on with the cab, the placement, everything there. So one thing that I noticed when I got everything bolted up is this transmission is absolutely ginormous. Knew that beforehand, and I kind of knew that the transmission was going to be sitting higher in here than I originally wanted, but that's okay because I have plenty of room to go down from here. So it actually worked out really well. So this thing, I'm gonna figure out how I'm gonna do a mounting plate system up here to get it where I like it later. And then you can see this thing won't go in just yet because it's all in the way. Everything's kind of like interfering right now. So really what just needs to happen is my transmission needs to go down a little bit. So all I have to do is I drilled a series of holes stacked on each other. So I'm gonna undo the bolt, drop the transmission down, and move to the next bolt hole. That way, you know, I can fit everything. And look, it just barely touches on that corner, and then it's clear the rest of the way under there. You can see, got plenty of room all the way underneath. No issues there. Lots of room. This turned out great. Fitment is awesome. I took the factory steering column, ran it through here, no issues whatsoever. Comes right through, clears everything, no problem. I'm gonna take this little bracket off the turbo, and then it's gonna run right down there for the steering rack. Now, I know I promised a while back about getting the steering rack in this thing and then the sway bar and all that stuff. Here's why I didn't do that. I figured that it was gonna be a lot better when the truck's actually sitting on the ground. So I waited for the 4-link kit to show up, and it did. So Jason sent me the rest of the stuff for the 4-link in the rear. So this is a triangulated rear end. It's not the Watts link kit. Obviously there would be a whole lot more pieces here. There's some key differences in that. I'll go over that in the next episode. So basically, next episode on this truck is going to be installing all of this stuff and getting it perfectly situated. I have these jack stands right here all set up to kind of get me close where I need everything to be. I'm going to get a lot more accurate later, but this kind of gets me in the ballpark right now, kind of seeing how I want to do stuff and how I'm going to line everything up. But come the next episode, all this stuff's going to be laser leveled all the way across. And then we got to make sure that all this stuff is parallel to one another as well as parallel to the ground when we're sitting at ride height. Again, I'm going to go over all that stuff in the next episode. That way you guys will have a full breakdown of how to do this properly, because I have seen some people install this kit and I guess they never asked Jason for his advice or whatever, because what you don't understand is a lot of these kits are for multiple vehicles and you kind of have to get them close. So with Jason's stuff, here's something that you need to understand. Jason's stuff is really good, but it gets you close. Okay, it doesn't get you exactly there. You got to do custom stuff for your chassis sometimes, just depending on how you have your setup. Obviously, I am super low. When this truck's sitting on the ground, the frame is going to be about 4 inches off the ground or less. So I'm going to actually have to, so normally you would bolt these long arms up under here, but I'm not going to do that. Actually going to re-drill like you would if you were doing a leaf spring re-drill. I'm going to re-drill a hole up top. I'm going to run this higher up. That way I can get this thing nice and flat all the way across when this thing's sitting with weight on it. So Anyway, a lot of science to this. There's a lot of ways to screw this up, and you got to do it right. If not, you're going to have a lot of centering issues. You're going to have a lot of binding issues. If you get these things wrong, or if this isn't parallel to this, you're going to get binding because the axial plane of rotation, arc links, everything else like that. I'm going to go into great detail on the next episode on this. So you're going to want to watch that if you're thinking about doing a 4-link kit. Even if you don't buy anything from Jason and you want to make your own, because they're not really that hard. This just saved me a lot of time, so getting it from him was just easier. But if you're going to make your own and you want to learn how to do a triangulated rear suspension setup, watch that video, because it's going to be really, really heavy in detail and stuff like that. Like, I already have kind of some drawings going up to help people kind of understand how things are going to move in relation to the body versus the actual live axle itself, and how it's going to move up and down, and pinion angle and all that stuff. We're going to go over everything in great detail. That way you can get it right on the first time. If you want to learn about parallel setups, there are like hundreds of videos out there on how to do a parallel setup and using like a pan hard bar and all that other stuff. But going triangulated, you don't need a pan hard bar, because the center force of it being a V actually creates the centering force itself, which keeps you stabilized. So you don't actually need a pan hard bar for a triangulated setup. Anyway, that's kind of what's going down. I already ordered all the tools, which was really expensive, surprisingly. I was not anticipating it being that expensive, but like swage lock stuff and like all that stuff is really, really expensive for the fuel line setup. So I'm doing 3/8 NICOP line, dash 8 and over here, running it all the way to the front hard line, and then coming up, doing that stuff. And then I got to run the NICOP brake lines. I was just really surprised at how much all the tooling cost. So anyway, that'll be in some future episodes, but this thing's gonna come together really quickly, I hope. Especially when I get all the panels and stuff, it's gonna start looking a lot more like a truck. And when I get this suspension on, I can finally get the truck on the ground with weight on wheels. And when I have that, then once this truck is actually sitting on the ground and suspension slightly compressed, that's when I'm gonna do my front rack and pinion and the sway bar mount and all that other stuff. Because I would rather do it with weight on wheels and figure out the compression point for the sway bar and like how it's gonna twist and stuff like that. Because right now, the way it's sitting, I don't really want to do all that stuff, and then like come to find out, I go and put the truck down, and then it's like not sitting how I want to, or it's preloaded too much or whatever. There's a lot of stuff with that as well. So I want to make sure that there's actual weight on wheels with that. But interior, pretty straightforward. Let me go over that real quick, since it is an update video. Okay, so dashboard, I'm going to be fixing the little things here and there. Then I'm probably going to go ahead and glass this entire dashboard. I'm going to cover this up right here, cover the side, cover up the defrost vent area, this whole panel right here. I'm going to cut all this lower plastic trim off, get rid of all of it, cover this up, and then make a little place in here for where I want to mount my gauges, or if I want to mount like a AEM style panel right there, so on and so forth. So I'm just going to paint it satin black and just leave it like that. So I'll sand it all up and make it look nice. Just be real simple in here. Probably not even going to run carpet. I'm going to run some like nice little floor pads right here. And then as far as pedals are concerned, I was going to do a pedal box, but right now, to make it easy on myself and to not spend like 8 years doing this thing, I'm just going to use the factory pedal box, factory steering column. I'm going to put my cage beam across up here, get everything kind of configured to that, and then go from there. So, all right. Anyway, so that's what's going on. Look forward to the next episode, because it's going to be really fun getting this 4-link kit on. That's when the action is going to start to happen. Once this thing's sitting on the ground, we're going to make stuff move pretty quickly. So yeah, and also the Subaru video is going to be uploaded here pretty shortly. I think maybe I can probably get it done tomorrow. So we'll see. Anyways, catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.